Good afternoon. This is Debbie Broughton, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from St. Robert, Missouri. Today it seems like my camera is showing much more than it usually does. So you can kind of see some of the things that are sitting around on my desk. I don't know why it does this some days. It's like showing you so much more. Usually I can only get like 3/4 of my glass mat in and stuff, but it's okay. We will just work with it. So I got busy yesterday and I didn't get to do day 3. So I'm doing day 3 and day 4 today of my 12 days of Christmas cards. I live in South Central Missouri, right near Fort Leonard Wood. And it's like 25 degrees today. I'm trying to get used to the cold again. But I am excited to share with you today these 2 cards. I really like them. And I hope that you do too. And if you are watching, if you could comment, that would be great. I love to talk to people who are watching. Or if you have a question, even if you're watching the replay, if you have a question, you can always put in a comment because I go back and look and I will try to answer your question, or you can send me a message in Messenger. Today, for our first card, we're going to be using the stamp set and the dies called Gingerbread Man, obviously. And this is just such a cute set. As soon as I saw it in the catalog, I knew I had to get it. And it's so fun to work with. So this is a fast and fun, easy card. And if you use a 6x6 piece of paper, you use every inch of the paper. We have the front, we have a little design at the bottom on the inside, and we have enough to make an envelope flat cover. So first let me show you how you would cut your DSP. Since I have a pattern that doesn't go, that isn't directional, you know, it doesn't matter which way I turn it, I don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to cut this at 4, which then leaves me the flat for my envelope. And then I'm going to cut this at 5 1/4, which leaves me a piece on the inside. And I haven't wasted any of that 6x6 paper. This paper is retired. I went through some of my retired paper, just trying to use it up. This paper, I'm pretty sure, is still available. I can't remember the name of it, but it is in the current Winter Mini. Here are the measurements for card 3 and card 4. I'm going to kind of hold them here a little bit. So if you want to, you can get a picture of your screen or go back and write down as I'm telling you how to cut the paper. But this just kind of gives you an idea. I hope that helps you. The second card's going to be using the Jar of Joy. I think we did that for maybe we did that on day 2 or day 1, but it's a completely different card. So let's get started with this. I used the die to cut out. We also have red, green, and white velvet DSP. So I used the red and the green velvet. I've used the red and the green a lot now because I've made a whole bunch of these gingerbread cards. And I just think it adds just a little touch to have the velvet. I still haven't used the white. I need to figure out a card that has snow or something in it. So let me show you the die for this. This will make, and we're going to do a card later that will, yep, I just dropped a die, a hat. Let me open this here and get this out. This is what the Gingerbread Man die looks like. So it's really 2, and they're connected, and it'll score it there. And then you can have like a card of just the Gingerbread Man that opens up. It would be small, but it could also go on the card front. But for today, we're just going to use half of it. And so that's why this hand is a little bit cut off, because I did 2 at a time and then I cut them in half. So, but we're going to hide that with the cup, so it's not going to matter. Now, I would have went ahead and stamped this and embossed it before we started, but I wanted to show you a trick, because sometimes, let me find my stamp set. Sometimes photopolymer stamps tend to, especially when they're big, like this one, and not solid filled in, if you put them on the block, sometimes they tend to stretch and then it will not fit perfectly. So what you want to do when you start is to lay it here to be sure that it is the exact right size. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I tried this, I cut out a whole bunch, and then I didn't do this, and when I put the stamp on my block, it stretched a little, and therefore it didn't fit, and I ended up having to cut them all out by hand because they were just a little bit, the stamp was a little bit bigger than what it was when I die cut it, only because I must have stretched it some when I put it on the block. So now I saw this tip on YouTube, so this is how I do it now, to be sure that it's going to fit when I stamp it. Now inside the stamp set you have all these different eyes and mouths that you can use. Let's look at these. Everything, like you can have a winking one, but so here's one with some eyelashes, just plain ones. So I'm going to use for this one, I don't think I've ever used the one with the eyelashes yet, or I'm not sure what you call that, but I'm calling it an eyelash. So I'm going to use that one. And here's just 2 eyes with, these are for the buttons. That's what those would be for. They're not eyes, they're too big. So I just go ahead and put it inside my stamp before I stamp it. That way I'm sure I have it, you know, where I want it on the face. It's a little bit easier for me to do it that way. So now I'm going to move out all this extra stuff. And I'm going to get my embossing tray ready. I'm just going to set it up over here until I'm ready for it. And I'm going to ink this up with some Versamark. I want to be sure I get it all over the stamp. That's why I'm like inking it backwards. Just to be sure that I get a nice layer of Versamark. And then I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to line it up on this cutout. And it should line up pretty close because, I'm sorry if I got my head in the picture. I kind of have to be looking over it. I think I did. Now we know it's not going to fill in that hand because that hand we got to cut. If I was only going to use one of the gingerbread figures, I would have cut the hand out more, you know, and went ahead and made it be more rounded like this one. But when I use both of them, I can't round them both. So I just leave one as square and I hide it with the cup. Or it also has all these other different dyes you could use. You could make a peppermint, a sucker, just a regular, some gumdrops, some candy canes. You could put all of that in his hand to hide the way it's not cut correctly. Okay, so now we're going to put this. Of course, I forgot to use my embossing buddy. I told myself when I did this, hi, Marianne, ho, ho, ho to you. I told myself for sure, don't forget to use your embossing buddy because you always forget. And here I was talking, and I forgot again. So we're just going to hope that this turns out without too much embossing powder where it's not supposed to be. I really like this Wow embossing powder because it really comes out as a very crisp, forgot the eyeballs, a very crisp white. You can also cut out the buttons and the icing from the dies, but that seems to me a lot of work to have to glue all those little things on. So I'm going to get this now. I'm going to kind of hold it by this hand. I like to flick it off. Sometimes that gets off the extra that got on there because I didn't use the embossing buddy. I'm just using this brush just to get a little bit of it off where it's not supposed to be. And that looks pretty good. I'll be right back when I heat this up. Okay, I'm going to put this back in my jar. Otherwise, I will forget and I'll hit the tray and then I'll have a mess. I really like using the tray. It makes it so easy to do embossing. Okay, I got the majority of it, and I can work on it later. Just I know I got enough off. I won't waste it if I hit it over. Okay, so here we are with our gingerbread man all ready to go. And like I said, I already cut out his hat. We just put a little bit of glue on here. Fit his hat on. Now you want to be careful if you are using the velvet because it kind of tends to come out these little slits in his hat, the glue does, so you don't want to get glue on your fingers or then it messes up the velvet. It's kind of like using foil. So I'll put a few dots of adhesive on the back here. This is a pretty new bottle, so it's coming out pretty quickly. Okay, so now I moved it. There we go. I got just a little bit of white showing here of the glue on the side. And I will put this cup in his hand. A nice cup of cocoa. There we go. Then he can go on top of our DSP. This is a very, well, it takes a little bit of time to cut out all the pieces. But after you get that, it's pretty fast to make. I want to lay him down there so that he fits on there very nicely, the top of his hat. And I need to move him over just a little. Okay, then we'll add this to our card base. Are you getting your Christmas cards made, Mariana? I heard that you guys got a lot of snow in Indiana. We got some snow, not even an inch, I don't think. It's around here. They said for some places must have got more out in the country because we had a snow day Tuesday. It wasn't that snowy exactly where I live, but I live more in town, and well, they didn't even have to plow my street, but we also have a lot that go to school that live more out in the country, and I think that, so, yeah, I think they said south of 44 got more than north of 44. I'm not sure. I live right off Highway 44 north of it, so south of it might have got a little bit more than we did here. So I just had some Christmas words here. I think they say, have a merry little Christmas. Let me find my Real Red ink. I have my Christmas colors stacked up over here. Of course, Real Red's the very last stamp pad. Sometimes when I'm making a lot of the same theme cards, I don't put away my ink pads in between time because I'm just going to go and have to get them out when I start again. So, we're going to add this to the inside, and then we'll be finished with card number 1. No, we're not, because we still have to put some embellishments on, because we can't have a card with no embellishments. Let me put this on the inside. Okay, so embellishments. We're going to use the peppermint embellishments. I just love these for Christmas cards. I've been using so many. I already finished up my 1 pack that I had. Well, almost. We're going to finish this pack off. Well, we'll start with this card and see how far we get. So we're going to put 3 buttons here. We didn't have... Oh, wow. You must have got a lot if you've been off 4 days. Oh, let's see. You didn't have school Monday, Tuesday, or today. So maybe you got to go yesterday. Huh? That'd be a lot of school. We have to do... This is how our school district works. Your first day that you get off for snow is an e-learning day. The second day, I'm pretty sure it's the second day. If you have 2 days right in a row, the second day is a regular snow day. Unless we've used up all our snow days, then it would be an e-learning day. And you only get so many e-learning days for a semester before you have to make up days. It's just a lot of different rules, and they're changing all the time, so I might not even be saying what is right today. And this will be for our envelope. So there we are. The gingerbread man is done. Now, if you wanted to, you could put some Wink of Stella on your gingerbread man, or in the background, or maybe on his cup. I haven't really tried the Wink of Stella on the velvet. We'll just try it and see what it looks like. We'll experiment. Definitely can get a dog hair in there because Herbie loves to lose his hair all over. So I'm just going to put, I know you really won't be able to see it that much on the video, but I will let you know what it looks like in person. You could see it a little. I don't know if it's really worth it because it kind of soaks in. And it's not as shiny as when you put it on paper. So, There we go. Card number 3. I love this next card. Look at this card. I saw this on YouTube and or on Pinterest, and I just had to try and make it with the little Christmas tree made with the peppermints. I thought that was so cute. So I have everything cut here. I'm pretty sure. Well, I don't have the jar cut out yet because I was going to show you how I did that. I already punched it out, but I still need to get it ready. And this paper is the Penguin Christmas paper from last year, so it's retired, but I had it left, and I thought the peppermint candy canes went good with the peppermint pieces, so that's where I used it. But you could use just a piece of real red or whatever cherry cobbler paper you had, like stripes or something, would go good with it. So here is our card base, a normal card base. Looking for my bone folder. It is here. Now you can kind of see how I'm getting messy because I have things laying right here next to my glass mat. Okay. So, we first are going to put on the DSP in the background, which is our normal size, 4 by 5 1/4. Have to move this up a little bit. That's why I like to use the mono-adhesive glue, because then I can still move it some. Alright, so this is how I got the jar to look red on the inside, because it just makes the peppermints pop up more when it's red. So I stamped it a red jar, but I still wanted to have white. I could just go with this and leave it like that, but I kind of wanted to show the jar was clear. So what I did is I had my scissors and I just cut this. I kind of cut it out on this inside line here. And like I said, you could just stamp it on the real red and leave it. That would be fine too. I just wanted to try to make it to see if I could have the jar look like it was in a clear jar. And this was like red decoration inside the jar. So see, that will fit on there perfectly. Let me glue that down. Whoops, I got a little crooked there. There. Now we have it. Now I've already embossed my words, wishing you the sweetest Christmas, so that you didn't have to wait for me to go over to the embossing station. And so I'm going to glue this down. You know what I did first though? I used my Wink of Stella on this. And I have so many Wink of Stellas, I have to... I said this last time I used with the Wink of Stella. I need to throw away the ones that are empty and not working good. I keep just reaching for another one when I'm on a live. And I forget to go back and test them all, because I have 3 of them. I think pretty soon I'm going to have to get a new one, because all 3 of them are kind of getting very sparse with their sparkle. There we go, that's better. Oh, now it's really coming out. I just had to shake it a little bit more. Because these are embossed, I can go over these words not worrying that the ink is going to smear. Hopefully. Although it looks like the paper kind of bled some red on the W on the sweet, because look at the tip of my brush got red. Just gonna kind of shake this a little. We'll glue this jar on here. Or you could pop it up with dimensionals if you wanted to. Hi, Anna. I'm glad that you're here too. This is a fun card to make. So was the gingerbread one. Pretty easy. It was fast if you already have the pieces cut out. So I'm going to put this here. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this down on the card front. Now I've Wink of Stella on my hands along with the glue. So I'm just ready for Christmas. Did you see my nails? They are all decorated for Christmas. When I went Tuesday, I said, I need Christmas nails. She did a great job. She's so slowly, like she put the snowflake on there. She didn't like it. She took some, figured out what the remover and took it off and put it on again. I think she had to do this finger twice, this one twice, and then she put some glitter on there. It was lots of fun. Okay, so for this peppermint tree, you need 15 peppermints. But look at how many you get. I was thinking, I read on here, you get 150 on one sheet. So if you use 15 for this one card, it's not going to make a dent in what you have. So I started out with 5 at the bottom. So how I did it is I put 1 on this end, 1 on this end, and then tried to fit in 3 more in between them. And then I looked at them, and this one could kind of move over. I used the poker end of my Pick-a tool and moved them where I wanted them before I really pressed them down good. So the next row gets 4. And those are kind of easier to place. Now you can make the tree be smaller too. If you wanted to start out with 4 as your bottom, it would just be a shorter tree. And you'd have to use less peppermints. Now we're going to 3. Oh, you should try the gingerbread card. They're so fast. I have some more where I use them as like the 2 together, and then they get folded on the score line. I have some samples with that too. I'm going to be showing in these 12 days of Christmas cards. And so there we go. A little Christmas tree of peppermints. Then we just need to put the lid on. I think because I put my Wink of Stella so thick on here, now was damp when I tried to glue it down. So it's not wanting to lay flat. I might have to add a little bit more adhesive behind it. Just put a few drops of glue on the lid. Then fit the lid on there. Get it straight without getting any glue on it. There we go. And then I've already tied a knot. Or not a knot, but a bow. But of course, do you think that I can find it in this stuff on my desk? Because I pushed things over here to make room. Here it is. To make room so it all didn't show on the video. Some of it still shows, but that's okay. So now we're going to get a glue dot. when I want a smaller one, I kind of use my pick a tool. Then I can kind of fold up the glue dot so that it will be just the right size for this little bow. Get the tails of my bow to come down, not up, and stick it there on this glue dot. Now I want these to come down more. And I'm going to trim them just a little bit so they're not hanging down on the tree. Oh, got this one I need to make this one just a little bit shorter. It's always scary when I'm doing these, like I'm going to end up getting them like I did my daughter's bangs once, just trying to make them even. Then I got too short. There, that looks better. Some candy canes on the bottom. That will go on the inside. And again, I could either stamp having, you know, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Or I could take this and say sugar and spice and everything nice. But that doesn't really go with just the peppermints. That goes more with the gingerbread. So I will decide what words I want to put since I used the Sweetest Christmas one on the outside. And I will add this white piece to the inside here along with this. And I also cut the envelope slaps. I already have these cut over here on the side for the envelopes. And there we are, card number 4. Thank you so much for joining me today, Marianne and Anna. I hope you both have a great day and hopefully a great and Merry Christmas. See you tomorrow with day 5. Bye.